A lot of nasty things are being said right now about Donald Trump's MAGA supporters. They're being called weaklings who are foolish and stupid people. And I just want to say, as much as I might not always agree with the people who voted for Donald Trump, no one should insult their character or their intelligence. I mean, who's saying this kind of stuff anyway?
The president going on social media calling some of those supporters, quote, weaklings.
Some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net. They're stupid people.
Oh my God. It's Trump derangement syndrome, and it's infected Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. You guys, so much is going on today. Republicans are pushing devastating cuts to PBS and NPR despite overwhelming public opposition, and Democrats walked out of a hearing on one of Trump's wildly corrupt and unqualified judicial picks. But Trump is focused on the important stuff, reminding everyone that he once took a test where he was asked to identify a drawing of a camel, and he got it right. And that makes him a genius.
AOC, look, I think she's very nice, but she's very low IQ. And we really don't need low IQ. Between her and Crockett, we're going to give them both an IQ test to see who comes out best. Now, I took my test. I took a real test at Walter Reed Medical Center, and I aced it. I got every one of all those questions right.
If you take a dementia test and you think it's an IQ test, then I'm sorry to say you failed both the IQ test and the dementia test. Here's the tip-off. Here's the big tip-off. That it was not an IQ test. They gave it to you at Walter Reed Medical Center. They don't administer IQ tests at hospitals. That's why you never hear an ER doctor yell, "Give me 200 cc's of saline and a spatial reasoning puzzle stat." I don't want to save this guy's life if he's a moron. I mean, what does a camel look like isn't a question on the SATs. It's a question a referee asks you, if you're a recently knocked out boxer. What animal am I describing, champ? Big hump on his back, lives in the desert. Camel, camel. All right, he's good to go. So Trump is saying nice things about himself while dissing Democratic members of Congress and his own supporters, but he's not stopping there. He also got tough words for Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell.
Do you have plans, or if you're back considering firing Jerome Powell?
He's a terrible Fed chair. I was surprised he was appointed. I was surprised, frankly, that Biden put him in.
Yeah, what the hell was Joe Biden thinking when he picked Jerome Powell? Did he at least explain himself when he appointed Powell as Fed chair? Let's go back and watch that announcement.
It is my pleasure and my honor to announce my nomination of Jerome Powell to be the next chairman of the Federal Reserve.
Oh my God, do you remember that week Trump and Biden Freaky Friday and switched body? Oh, that was such a fun week. Politics is so stressful now, but that week was madcap fun. Biden was in Trump's body and named Jerome Powell head of the Federal Reserve, and Trump was in Biden's body and tried to break Biden's arm by falling off that bike. Remember that? Oh, I'm gonna get him. I'm having a hard time believing that Trump aced an IQ test if you can't even remember stuff he did as president. I mean, I guess one of the questions wasn't a picture of that announcement ceremony with the words, "This you, bro?" But hey, here is Jerome Powell, who, as you can see, not a camel. No humps. But hey, let's cut Trump some slack. He's under a lot of pressure from all this Epstein stuff. Even his most devoted supporters are trashing him and demanding answers.
I'm always a believer in transparency. I think more is always better.
I do think that there needs to be more transparency on this.
I agree with the sentiment that we need to put it out there.
I think that the American people need to see what's in there.
I do think there needs to be more transparency. I do think that all needs to move forward.
We need a special counsel. That has got to happen. There has to be a special investigation into this. I want answers, and maybe that takes that special counsel to do so. Maybe Matt Gaetz can lead the special counsel.
Yes, Matt Gaetz is the perfect choice. He's our man on the inside. It turns out he was a double agent this whole time. Remember when Republican senators were saying this about Gates?
This is a guy that the media didn't give a time of day to after he was accused of sleeping with an underage girl. We had all seen the videos he was showing on the House floor that all of us had walked away of the girls that he had slept with. He'd brag about how he would crush ED medicine and chase it with an energy drink so he could go all night.
He was only doing that so we could go undercover to investigate, man. He was our Serpico. He'd party all night while secretly wearing a wire, and then he'd meet with his contact inside the DOJ by the docks at 5 a.m. screaming, "You gotta get me out of there, man. I can't sleep and I always have a boner." Trump was asked if he'd consider appointing a special counsel to look at the Epstein files, and once again, he made the answer all about himself.
President Trump, would you consider appointing a special counsel to investigate the Jeffrey Epstein investigation?
I have nothing to do with it.
First of all, love the way this is shot. He looks like he's staring into your Ring camera and delivering your DoorDash order. Second, I love that Trump energy where he blows off the press like they're on the street trying to raise money for a good cause. Do you have a minute to talk about rescue animals? I have nothing to do with that. I don't care about that. But the difference is on the street, you can just walk away. Trump works at the White House. He can't get away. And the Epstein questions keep coming. So now Trump is calling his own supporters stupid, foolish weaklings for asking these questions. And now he's adding another insult, naive.
What are the things that are most important that you would like to see the FBI get to the bottom of?
I think they could look at all of it. It's all the same scam. They could look at this Jeffrey Epstein hoax also, because that's the same stuff. That's all put out by Democrats.
Yeah.
And, some of the naive Republicans fall right into line like they always do.
Fall in line with what? Democrats didn't say a word. Your own supporters are the ones who spent years demanding the files and obsessing over the Epstein case, which was a very real criminal case involving a very real person. And now you're the one fanning the flames of the conspiracy by calling it all a hoax. I swear, we're like a day away from Trump claiming Jeffrey Epstein was never even a real person. People keep saying the reason I won't release the Epstein files is because my name and picture is in the Epstein files, but it's not true. Jeffrey Epstein is not real. They used AI to put him next to me in photos. It's very cruel because in the original photos, I was with Mother Teresa. There she is. They even did a deep fake video where it made it look like I was partying with Jeffrey Epstein in Mar-a-Lago. The video is fake. Here's the original video, as you can see. As you can see very clearly with Mother Teresa. I remember that night we were at a party. I leaned over, I said, "Mother Teresa, some of these girls look pretty young." And she said, "You're not wrong, Donald, you're not wrong." Although I have to go back to that interview on the far-right Real America's Voice network to follow up on something the host said. Listen carefully when he interjects at the end.
They ought to look into the Jeffrey Epstein hoax, too, because that's another hoax that's frankly put out by the pushing the Republicans and put out by the Democrats.
No, they definitely set the Republicans up.
Set them up how? We've been asking this question all week. How did they set up the Republicans? They made up fake Epstein files, then kept those fake files secret, then convinced the entire MAGA base to spend years demanding the release of those files, then knew they would lose the election to Trump, who would then refuse to release the files they made up. You people all need to take a dementia test. And I'm sorry, I'm just a little jacked up right now. Before every show, I
crush ED medicine and chase it with an energy drink.
So if you see the desk move a little bit, that's why. What's that, Shoemaker? You haven't seen it move at all? So now Trump's most rabid supporters have to figure out a way to resolve the cognitive dissonance they're experiencing between their years demanding to see the Epstein files and their personal devotion to Donald Trump. And they're trying out all kinds of different methods. Glenn Beck jumped on board with the theory that maybe the Democrats are framing Trump.
How do we know what's true, what's not true? That's theory 4. Theory 5 is these sons of bitches. They knew I was campaigning. One of my campaign promises was to release the files. Somebody went in, the same people went in, and made all of this stuff point to me as if I'm some kingpin in it. Why is it the left never wanted this released until he said, I'm not going to release it? Why is Congress, the Democrats in Congress, all of a sudden saying, you've got to release this? You've got to release. This is impeachable if he doesn't release it. Really?
You know when you can stop listening to someone? When they say, Theory 5. But hey, maybe he's right. Why the hell are Democrats suddenly asking about the Epstein files? Only an idiot or a bad person would care about that.
Who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book?
FBI.
But who? That is, I mean, there's...
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI.
Okay, fine, but that clip was from 2023. The FBI director at the time was Christopher Wray, who could have easily manipulated the files just like Trump said. I mean, who appointed that guy anyway?
President Trump took to Twitter this morning saying, I will be nominating Christopher A. Wray, a man of impeccable credentials, to be the new director of the FBI.
I know that seems like a gotcha clip, but that was clearly the week Joe Biden and Donald Trump did a face-off. That week was less fun than the Freaky Friday week because Trump's head is so much bigger than Biden's. Biden's face. That's not how I thought that'd look. Now, in order to make this insane new conspiracy theory work and pretend that Democrats somehow fabricated the Epstein files to frame Trump, Trump supporters have to completely rewrite the history of the Epstein case and pretend it all happened under Joe Biden, not Donald Trump himself, leading to this awkward moment on live TV.
He was arrested and indicted under Merrick Garland.
No, under Trump.
Who had all
under
of the
Trump.
information.
Epstein was arrested, indicted, and committed suicide under Trump. In 2019, Trump was president. Merrick Garland was not the attorney general.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Okay, I stand corrected on the date of the arrest, the details of the case, the attorney general who oversaw it, and the name of the president at the time. But other than that, I nailed it, right? How do you guys keep getting all of these basic details wrong? You don't remember who appointed Jerome Powell, who appointed Christopher Wray, who arrested Jeffrey Epstein? I'm starting to think these guys might be
very low IQ.
So it turns out, contrary to MAGA fever dreams, the Epstein case happened under Trump, which is leading them to come up with even crazier explanations, the craziest of which came from Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, who had an interesting take on why some of the names you might see in the Epstein files would actually be totally innocent.
Will you commit at the next cabinet meeting to a fulsome conversation in front of the American people on the release of the Epstein files?
Listen,
yes or no, please, Mr.
Well, I guess I don't know. I don't know all the data on it. If you flew with Epstein to Epstein Island and then
I certainly did not.
And then you flew on to get on a boat to sail in the Bahamas, should I make by accusation the fact that you were just on the plane? I think we got to be smart about how we do it. What's going to be released?
Wait, I'm sorry. Are you saying some people just had a layover on Epstein's Island? Hey, babe, yeah, we just landed at Epstein Island. I'm gonna hit up the Chili's too and grab a crossword book at Hudson News. What's that? Oh, don't worry, I'm not gonna go to any of the parties here. All right, I'll see you tonight. Hey, we've all been there, right? You're just trying to book the cheapest fare from JFK to Palm Beach, and sometimes you have to catch a connecting flight on the world's most notorious sex island. You know, to be fair, I don't even know why Spirit has a hub there. The meltdown over the Epstein drama is the perfect window into the MAGA mindset. The only two things holding them together were their devotion to the Trump cult and their conspiracy theories, and now those two things are clashing, and we're watching them all deal with their cognitive dissonance in real time. Maybe they can take a test for their cognitive dissonance to see if they're actually
very low IQ.
This has been A Closer Look.